Welcome to another episode of the Get Legit Podcast. I go by the name of Low Nose, and I got my dog with me.
Composed by Ferg.
Hey, man, and we got a great episode for y'all today, man. Season 2, Episode 2, Deuce Deuce.
Deuce, man. Today we're going to be talking about communication today. We always communicating with y'all, but we never really touch on that subject, how valuable it is, if it's valuable, and how it's impacted our lives and how it can impact your life. We'll start off like this. What's the time in your life, Lo, where you felt like you wish you could go back and communicate it better, or a time where you learned something where it's like, I may have not been perfect at communication, whether it's childhood, you know, young. It doesn't have to be something where you're going all in your business if you don't want to.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I understand. I would definitely say it's something where I learned something, and that, like, learning the power of communication and not necessarily how you can. Not necessarily what you say, but how you say it. You know, definitely, like, if you're in a leadership role or if people look up to you or look to you for guidance in any type of way, you got to understand that one way to reach the masses is not always it's not going to be the best delivery for everybody, but you got to try to find that happy medium. And with the happy medium, you try to get some extreme people on this side and extreme people on this side that think a certain type of way to meet, and so everybody can understand what you're trying to get across, if that makes sense.
So the delivery was one of your biggest takeaways?
Yeah, it's the delivery, because of course you want to say something with substance. Of course you want it to, you know, have meaning and be informative, but at the end of the day, you know, somebody can tell you something that's going to benefit you, but if they say it in the wrong way, to some way maybe offends you, you're not going to receive that as well.
Right.
Understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
What about yourself? Like, I want to know something, like, as far as, I mean, that's a good question. What did you learn from learning how to communicate? That's a really broad question. You can learn a lot on different aspects.
One of the biggest things I've learned, and I actually one of my things is I always thought that if I wasn't helping the problem, I needed to go away. And that was just something I had as a child. Like, if I thought I was in trouble, I'd just disappear. Everything would be better. And I didn't realize even that was communicating to people that maybe care about you and want to work with you, whether that's in a business, whether that's in a relationship. That's communicating abandonment to them. And I didn't realize, me thinking that I'm taking a break, you know what I mean? I wasn't even communicating, hey, look, I'm about to go handle this. I'll be back, y'all. We're going to figure this out. Sometimes, like, you know what? This is chaotic. Let me not add fuel to the fire, but...
Hold on. Let me interject real quick.
Go ahead.
Because it's crazy, and, like, a lot of people don't understand that communication doesn't necessarily always have to be what you say to somebody.
Yeah, it's not about
It's what you portray. So basically, you're saying you learn from communications through your actions, your previous actions, and how it impacted the people around you.
Dude, I was like, literally, as a little kid, if I got in trouble, I would literally I would hear my mom calling my name. Yeah. And I'm hiding somewhere. I know there's no way she could find me. And I for like 6 hours until I felt better. Like, I didn't feel like I did something wrong. Okay. But even in those actions, it was my mom understood me, but as I got older, I didn't realize that what I would do would just, like, you know, eject myself from certain situations and try to think and, you know, make sure everything is good. What I was communicating to, whether it was my team, my business partners, whoever it was, my friends, man, I got friends that I just, you know, I didn't communicate with. I wasn't letting them know, like, hey, man, I'm still rocking with you, but I'm working on myself right now.
Exactly.
And a lot of them took it a certain way where it was like, now that I can speak and use my words, because you're right, there's a lot of forms of communication. But now that I can use my words better and I understand that, that's a lesson I learned. You know what I mean?
And I think that hits on something else. Like, the biggest goal of communication is understanding. You know, if you really want to communicate.
Say that again. Hold on.
I said the biggest goal of communication is understanding.
Oh yeah, that's gonna hit a caption.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a caption for that one. But no, like, it's real. Like, you gotta understand, because if you're really trying to communicate with somebody, if you're really trying to reach them on a certain point, a certain level, or, you know, you want them to see how you see, not necessarily persuade them, but at least understand what's going on. So, for instance, if you had to step away from a situation, just like me, I've had plenty of times I have to step away from a situation, and you might not understand what's going on, and most of the time people follow what's going on with so-and-so, what's going on with so-and-so. But it's like, if they deserve that communication and it's any of their business, you know, sometimes those people need to, you know, get that from you.
I know what you mean. Yeah, and even in one of the biggest part of communications, I think, you know, in relationships in general, friendships, you know, intimate relationships, you know, siblings, is we never set and communicate like our boundaries. You know, like when a business starts, they have a mission statement.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we do this, we don't do that.
Order of operations.
You're saying the order of operation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that can help, which, you know, it'll help you. It's like order of communication.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Exactly.
It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do every time. I'm going to disappear for a few hours a day because I like walking by myself. I need to clear my mind. I'm gonna find a spot that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that I hate you. I'm mad. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that is where I guess you put in your order of communication, and the person doesn't feel like you're abandoning them. You know, you feel me? So
yeah, I feel like it's always better to let somebody else know if you're interacting with someone in some form or fashion. I feel like it's always good to just let them know. Because when people, I think with everything, like you said, with friendships, with businesses, with romantic relationships, when people don't know, they start to assume.
Yep.
And that assumption is what takes what could be a small situation to a huge situation, and sometimes ends a situation. You know?
Have you ever had a time and I'm going to say particularly in business, where you got to a level of where I'm not trying to communicate with this person anymore?
Yes. Yes. You know, I'm not going to speak.
I queued you up. We're not going to do it.
How
did that work out, just from a standpoint of
it's just one of the things. It's a situation where, you know, I told someone something, you know, and I feel like it fell upon deaf ears, and I, you know, told someone something again, and I got no reception from it. And then, you know, once I decided to step away and, you know, let it be known why I'm stepping away, you know, it was an issue. And it's not bad, but it was just to the point where it's just
so to be clear, so this was more of you were communicating something that needed to be resolved, and it was falling on deaf ears, and then got you. Then when you finally said, look, I can't resolve this without this person, this is the issue.
I can't do it, you know. So I mean, at the end of the day, it's like sometimes you gotta really let stuff go. I mean, if it's gonna keep falling upon deaf ears and it's not something that's gonna be pertinent to your success, then like, why even give yourself the stress?
You don't want to be communicating with a wall all day.
Exactly.
Like, talk to a wall.
I don't want to hear an echo, and that's the only thing I get back from it. So I mean, sometimes it's just like, let some of that stuff go and keep it pushing. You know, like, let the person that really is going to assess what you're saying and use what you're saying hear what you got to say.
Okay.
That being said, have you ever felt a time in your life where you felt like you were trying to communicate with someone? I mean, and I feel like all of us have, but the better question is, when you were trying to communicate with someone and it wasn't working out, what was your way of handling it? And what was your way of moving on and making it different the next time?
All right, we're going to get a little personal, which I don't mind, you know, because it can help other people too. So my way of handling, I have had that situation, you know, friends, I've had that situation.
Yeah, it's happened.
So my way of handling it before was, I had this thing about myself. I never wanted to manipulate anybody from doing anything.
Yeah.
So if I asked somebody one time, and even if they didn't even hear the question clearly, it was a flaw of mine where it would be like, I wouldn't ask them again, because it's like, I'm not trying to force you to do nothing. And I heard myself say that a lot, like, I'm not about to force nobody to do, when they don't even, I'm not even communicating clearly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I've had on the other side where I was communicating clearly, and then I got to the point where I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to keep asking you the same thing over and over. But I think it takes time. Time is a valuable part of communication too.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? In those business relationships and in those relationships where that did happen over time, I'll be personal. I got one of my best friends I didn't talk to for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And And people say things like, time heals, but it really does, because you grow.
Yeah.
You grow, you know what I mean? That's a part of communication. Growth is a part of communication. Time is. So definitely in that situation where I felt like I wasn't being heard and that person was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't do anything that was against my morals or, it was just like, hey, we can't communicate the goal, or we can't communicate whatever we're trying to do right now. I just eject myself.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that's always a good thing. Really, it's not. I'm not giving anybody
it's
advice.
the balance, though. It's like sometimes you got to protect your peace, and you got to make sure you never act outside of your character, and you got to understand that like you really are in control.
Yeah.
And one thing you said is like the growth aspect. Like there's been plenty of situations where communication doesn't have to be constant. Like I've not talked to my best friend for a while, and then we can get on the phone call and it's like nothing ever happened.
Yep.
And we may catch up and it might be like, damn, what's been going on? Like we really ain't talked in a while, you know what I'm saying? But like, you my dog, you know what I'm saying? But for us to continuously grow together and continuously to be able to communicate, whether you get on the higher level or they get on the higher level, however you want to do it, like that communication and growth is key to keeping relationships lasting. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has that person that they used to always be with, be around.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That you just like, I can't relate to you no more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And even communicating to them why you can't be around may help them, may not.
Sometimes not saying a word and just moving on is communication.
Yeah, you're right. Like I said, it's action. So it's like it all comes down to if it's worth even explaining, at some point in time. Like, is it worth even putting as much energy in it as you would have to make the other person understand? Or can they...
Is the juice worth the squeeze? You feel me? Like,
period. But no, man, it's a lot that goes into communication, and I really feel like this is something that we can really come back and
this is gonna be a couple episodes, because we didn't even get we haven't even scratched the surface, man. We haven't even talked about just communications and networking. We just talking about personal experiences. We definitely gonna come back for y'all on this one. A lot of people wanted us to talk about communication, so
definitely.
A lot of people wanted us to communicate about communication.
Man, communication is important. It's a big thing about it's a big part about what we do. And here at Get Legit, and we're not therapists, we're not advisors, we're not none of that, but we've been through experiences, and for us to come through and be able to communicate to people that may not have necessarily went through that or have went through the same thing and see how other people handle it, whether it's trauma, whether it's an accomplishment, something you learn, like that's really important to me. So I feel like our communication with our GLP community is what we need to keep up.
Absolutely. Even though y'all Paisley said communication isn't key. So what you think about that? We gotta throw. We gonna give Paisley a pick.
Throw under the bus.
I'm gonna throw under the bus. She can't defend herself right there. So what you think? Do you think communication is key? I'll give my answer after I hear yours.
I'm gonna go back to what I said, and I'm gonna throw in one of the P's that we like to use: purpose.
I like it.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna start off with purpose, and answering is communication key. Maybe. And like just not to beat a dead horse, but the purpose of you trying to get someone to communicate with you has to outweigh whatever obstacles may come or obligations may come with that. See what I'm saying? So if I want you to understand where I'm coming from, and it's not worth me teaching, not worth me preaching it to you, then there's no purpose for me to do it, And so like, purpose comes with value. So if there's no value, there's no purpose.
And if there ain't no purpose, ain't no reason to communicate.
Ain't no reason to communicate.
That. I agree with Paisley. I don't think communication is key, because I'm also somebody that believes that the meaning of life is to be lived, and then you develop your own purposes and your own things. Yep. But I will say this about in reference to communication. One of my favorite quotes my mom always used to say: "Knowledge is half the battle."
All right.
But I always added on to that as I got older. It stuck me so well. I had to add on to it. But the other half is action. You feel what I'm saying? So once you know who you want to communicate with, once you know what you want to do, even if it's not communication, that then you go on to put it in action, and that's a form of communication. You feel what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Your actions is the biggest form of communication.
They say actions speak louder than words.
Absolutely.
And that's definitely a saying that has held the test of time.
Absolutely.
Because you think about it all day, but if you don't do shit, then ain't nobody gonna see nothing.
And you ain't gonna prosper. So if you want to communicate, you want to prosper, and you want to get stuff done, make sure you do it, man. You got to put that action to it. Figure out what you want to do, who you want to be around. You know, birds of a feather flock together. Show me your 5 friends. That's where you're gonna be. Y'all know all this stuff, man. Watch the energy you around. Even energy communicates with each other, man. You know what I mean?
Thing. So was that you using purpose? I mean, what, power?
Yeah, I did. I went and got power. I did a little prosperity in there too. But you go ahead and give some too, man. I like this episode. We ain't really.
Yeah, I mean,
we talking about some real stuff right now.
Hey, look, this is how the conversations normally go. Like, I don't know if y'all know behind the scenes. Like, we joke. I'm talking about we'll bag on each other all day, joke all day. But like, we really like to have intellectual conversations.
And they pay me well to be around.
Yeah. So. But no, we like to have good conversations, man. And I'm gonna touch on power, you know what I'm saying, for the P, because I just want to throw it in there, man. It ain't about pushing P, it ain't about the pussy got power, none of that. Right. Nah, just to be real with y'all, but like, power is so crazy because a lot of people don't realize that they have the power that they have. And the thing about it is, with me personally, or how I'm gonna go to it is, I've been really meditating a lot. You know what I'm saying? And the power of your subliminal mind, and actually like doing, seeing, and being the person or in the place that you want to be, that is so powerful. And it's like, not to go too deep into it, but you know, everybody has their own aspect about it. But I feel like once you can really tap into your subliminal mind, and you can really tap into the part of your brain that you don't use, is really powerful, and things start to happen. And just, I don't know, I'm almost at a loss for words, bro, because I really been living it, you know what I'm saying, lately.
It's a whole new paradigm once you tap into that.
Like, tap into your power, y'all. Tap into your power. Like, think outside the box sometimes. Don't think about what you don't want to happen. Think about what's already happening for you. That's the power.
And stay true to yourself when you communicate.
That's it, man. Get Legit Podcast, episode 2.
Season 2. We're doing our thing. Composed by Ferb, Low Nose.
Bye-bye.
Paisley Renee, y'all already know what it is, man.
And we out.